Hey guys, welcome back. It's your favorite Gimp of the Limp, and I am here with the next part of Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea. We're going to try to burn through this playthrough real quick because I want to try to see if I can fit it all in one video. We're going to do one more round showing, everything, cards and disc and all the other good stuff that's in this game, and then try to throw in some final thoughts for you guys really quick. Now, when we left off, Troy had tried to expand out a little bit. They did all right, but I think I did a little bit better, kind of moving in their direction. We had some barbarian battles happen up near the gates of Troy, but they were able to push them back with some good card play. But they were able to beat me on one victory point, so we'll have to see how this pans out. I, however, am still in first place, so I get to go first. Let's jump back into our growth phase. Again, we are going to go to our retirement step. I am not going to return any number of my discs to my supply. I'm going to leave them out there. And now I acquisition one disc for each of my settlements, one disc for each two shallow areas. Not adjacent. Oh, we're one space away. Look at that. If we had one more disc either here in this water area or there in that land area, we would have been adjacent, but we're not. So, oh well. And then disc from Wonders and Civilization Display. So I'm not getting any from Wonders, but again, I do get my racial bonuses, which I'm going to get one for having Egyptian disc near the Nile, and then I'm going to get an additional disc and a talent for having a city there. Yeah, transfer additional disc and gain one talent. Okay, so let's do for my growth real quick. Since I'm over here, I'm getting, for my special abilities. My special abilities, I'm gaining 2, and I am gaining a talent. So this out of the way. Grab myself an extra talent. I've got a bunch of talents saved up. I'm going to have to use some of those this turn, and we're going to do that. So that's for my special abilities. And then I'm getting 1 for the shallow areas. I've got 2 of those. So that's 1 disc, and then 1 for each settlement, but they burned up. Oh, remember this? It was all settlements up here, but all those are gone. I've only got 2 left and a couple of cities. So that's 1, 2, 3 more discs that I get to put into my supply, if I can get them out of my little bowl here. All right, so that gives me 5 discs that I get to place out. You may transfer 1 disc from any number of your cities to your ready box. You deploy them into areas you control, contested areas adjacent to your control, and all the other good stuff that you can do with your disc. So let me grab up my 5 disc here, and I am going to put them out. I think I'm going to try to gun for cities just to see if I can get some more points on the board. So we'll go city, city. That leaves me 3. And then I could go settlement. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, settlement. Look at that. I'm expanding out. This is all cities now. This is all settlement. We're taking over all of the Mediterranean. It's all Egyptian. Look at this thing of beauty. I love it. All right, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yep. All right, that's it. Now we go to their growth phase. Boo hiss. Boo hiss, Troy. Okay, let's see what they have. Is there any reason for them to do any number? I don't think they're going to return anything back. That wouldn't benefit them right now. So they have 2 settlements. And they've got a land area here, or sea area here, rather. So that's 1 disc, 2 discs, 3 discs. And I don't think that fleet stuff counts. I think it's just the land areas. So that's 3 discs, and then I do believe they get something here in their growth phase. If there's a Trojan city in or adjacent to Troy, gain 1 talent. Okay, so they are going to get a talent. I'll grab that out for them because they spent a lot of talents keeping their disc on the board. And they are going to get 3 of their own disc to place in their ready box, ready to go. Okay, so looking again at our NPC displacement. Enemy disc, no, not near their wonder, not near their gold. No enemy disc near their city. It does not have a city in its home area. No, it does. In an area with its wonder, it does. It does. Number 8. If none of the land areas, it does have a city in the land area there. Okay, number 9 has fewer cities than you. It does have fewer cities than me. Okay, it creates a city in an area it occupies that is close to its home area as possible. Now, here's the thing. Would it create it there with the barbarian? Or would it create there? And I'm kind of thinking it's going to go there. That way it wouldn't create a competition, because if it created a competition, well, it's got a talent, so it could potentially win that competition without losing that, but we can put the same amount of discs here without the worry of potentially losing that city to the barbarian down to a settlement. So we'll go there instead. We'll play it safe for Troy. It's got 1 disc left. It's not Phoenicia. It's not Manoa. Not going to be any of those. So let's see. It's going to place an area containing enemy gold, enemy wonder, adjacent to gold, adjacent to wonder, not yet. Contain and not an enemy city. It's not an invader scenario. I think it's probably just going to place a disc adjacent to me. It could get rid of those barbarians. Let me just make a judgment call here to save a little time trying to figure out where it's going to go, because it's only got 1 disc left. And I'm going to put it here to create the competition in hopes of wiping out that little barbarian there so they can kind of get a stronghold going again. Because if they can get rid of that barbarian without losing a disc by paying a talent, if it works out that way for them, then they'll have another settlement there and it'll help them grow up a little bit more. So they'll have 3 settlements, 3 cities. They'll be kicking butt. Okay, so we are now done with our growth phase. We're going to our card phase. This is our card phase. All right, give me 1 sec. Let me eyeball my cards and see what I'm going to play first. Okay, guys, here we go. I am set, and I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do first, but I think I just got it. But I was eyeballing the Trojans to get an idea of what they were going to do first as well. But I think we're going to go with pirates. All right, so we're going to remove all discs from 2 adjacent sea areas, then place 1 barbarian disc into each of those areas. Now, pay attention to the stuff at the bottom. I didn't mention this in the previous video, but some of them say shuffle back into the draw pile or shuffle the draw pile and then shuffle that into the deck. I just set them off to the side and was going to shuffle off camera, but make sure that you do follow those instructions as we do that. So, bumping little wonders. We'll get to that actually here in a sec as well. All right, so the 2 areas I'm going to gun for are going to be these 2 off to the side, because I could get 2 discs from there, or I can get these 2, and that way I'm not kind of impeding myself if I go in that direction. So we'll take those 2, and then we will put a barbarian disc in each. So doink, doink. All right. So next up, we go towards the Trojans, and I already looked at their cards to see what's going to be top. Gain a talent is the first thing that's on their list of priorities to do. So gain 1 talent, then place 1 disc into each of up to 3 different land areas. Damn, that's actually a pretty good card. So 1 talent, that's going to help them out in the combat. And then place 1 disc in up to 3 different land areas you occupy. Oh, damn, that's actually not going to be too good for them, because they're going to oh, wait, they can't. They can just have a lot of cities. All right, so then go here, here, and here. They've got nothing but cities. They're going to get a lot of points, but this might be a time where they bring some disc off the board to get some growth going. Okay, so that goes into our discard. And since that orange stripe was shuffle into discard and there was no discard left since I had shuffled it off camera, it's just there. Now, what are we going to do next? I think I'm going to go ahead and do my, let's take and go ahead and do my wonder, because I want to get a wonder. And I think it was the Great Lighthouse. Now, the way it works with the wonders is that you have to pay 5 resources, but they can be split among a few different things. They can be split among the discs that you have on the board, the talents that you have over here, or the cards. But you see, I've got a whole bunch of talents. I've actually got 5 talents there, but I can't pay for it all with talents. At least 2 of the resources have to come from the disc that you got on the board. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We're going to take these 2 from these shallow sea areas because I'm not too concerned about having that. And then we're going to pay 3 talents, and we're going to get ourselves a great lighthouse that we're going to put in our home area. And I'll show you what this thing does here. All right, let's get zoomed in. During the acquisition step of your growth phase, you may remove a disc from this card, so it's going to have 5 discs on it. If you do, place it along with up to 1 additional disc, so 2 discs, into an adjacent area adjacent to an area you occupy, then gain 1 talent. That is wonderful for spreading, for like actually going into combat with your enemies, because you can place it adjacent. So I could place it here, you know, all along these sea areas, into these land areas, so I could place 2 discs down, and I'm gaining a talent. So you're effectively gaining 3 discs with this one wonder. So that is an excellent card to have. Let's take and grab 5 discs to throw on there very quickly and get this wonder set up. I love these wonder cards because they do, you can see how it says growth there. Some are, like I said, are better at growth, some are better at competition. They all excel at different parts of the game. And then these big cubes just look good on the board. I can only imagine how this game would look with multiple civilizations on the board, with a bunch of these big thick cubes, which I gotta say, I give them props because they have spare, you see how it's stickers? They have spare stickers included with the game, because other people with fat thumbs like I've got who will mess those damn stickers up. There are spares in there, and if you do all of them right, you could just, you know, double-side it if you wanted to or something like that. But you got a replacement just in case. So, boom. Got my lighthouse. I would use that in the next growth phase. Got my big, beautiful block there on the board. And now we are back down to Troy. Now, unfortunately for me, Troy only has 1 other card that it can actually play, because their other 2 cards, if I can get them actually out of this light, is shining on. You see, one's a competition card, and the other is played at the beginning of the Ananus step. So neither one of those can be used right now. They are instead going to play the only other card they have. Take 1 card at random from an opposing civilization's hand. Bastards. You bastards! Alright, so let's do this. We will shuffle this around like this. That way we figure out what they're going to get. Alright, come on, shuffle. Shuffle. There we go. Alright, let's give them this one. Which one is this? Hopefully it's not the pirate one. Perfect. That actually worked out great for me that I got that. Place 2 discs into a shallow sea area occupied by an opposing disc. I occupy no sea areas. This is going to be junk for them. They just have to hold it. So I get to keep mine, which is the one that I wanted, the barbarian disc, little pirate haven. Placed, come on, zoom in. Place 2 discs into an adjacent thing. Blah, blah, blah. So they just played there, so actually I'll play this now. Place 2 barbarian disc into an island land area except Minos, if the Minoan civilization is active. Then place 2 more into adjacent shallow sea area. So 2 barbarian discs, we'll place them. Okay. If I go this land area, yeah, I can do a competition. All right, so 2 barbarian discs, we'll go there. And then it said 2 more into an adjacent shallow sea area. So we'll go there to try to mess them up a little bit more. So bam, bam, just like that. We got them. Now, they do have 1 card left they can play, but they can't occupied by... They can use this. Let's see. Now they can use it because by an opposing disc. I'm going to go ahead and say that the barbarians are opposing. All right. It doesn't say opposing civilizations disc. So now they can use this to place 2 discs of theirs into that sea area, which is going to put them over the cap, but they'll probably go under it during the competition phase. So that's fine. That gives them that. I'm out of cards. I've passed. They've got a couple of cards left that they can't play, so they will pass as well. And now we're going to the competition phase. Okay, so let's make sure we do this right. Troy does get their Amazonian allies, and again, since there's no competition in the city of Troy, I'm not going to bother placing a disc there. because I just end up pulling it up. But they do have a land area that is going to have competition, so they get to put it there. It would be cool if they could put it anywhere, but it has to be a land area. So they've got competition here, and nowhere else do they have competition. So that white disc actually helps them out big time because they don't have to lose talents, and now they can spend them there. But I know the shallow sea areas can only have 2, so they'll probably just let those discs go to save their talents. Like, that would be more beneficial for them, because I think the stacking limit is 2 discs in shallow sea areas and then 1 in the deep, depending. There are some special circumstances. And then 3, obviously, for land. Now, we are going to go to, if it will zoom in, number 4. We're going straight to the competition because there's no wonders. Oh, wait, they did have a card. Let's see what this card does. Let's see if that'll help them out a bit. Competition card. Play if the competition is on a land area. Remove 2 discs belonging to each opposing faction there. Well, they might as well, since that, and they can focus just on that one. So we'll play that card. We'll remove this opposing barbarian disc, and now we can go ahead and just pull this white one out since that competition is going to be over. That white one will get removed later on anyway. I'll just save myself the trouble. And now our only competition is going to be right meow. So, like I said, we're going to go straight into step 4. But I don't think we're going to spend talents to save those because, like I said, the shallow sea areas can only have 1 or 2 discs in them. So losing their disc there isn't that big of a deal. They're going to lose them anyway. So with the competition, again, simultaneously, each civilization with 1 disc loses a disc. Neither has 1. And then we go up to 2 disc, loses a disc. So they lose a disc. Each civilization with 3, each civilization with 4. Now every civilization has lost a disc. We go back to the start of the competition phase, and we start going around again. Each civilization with 1 disc, bam, loses a disc. So the barbarians lose it. The competition is over, but we're going to go ahead and remove this disc just because that is on top of the stacking limit. So they effectively took out the barbarians that I placed there without any real losses, since they did play that card to put their extra disc there. So that worked out pretty well for them. They were able to keep their sea area, but I was able to take out their other 2 over there, so it kind of negates the progress that they made. But they do have a lot of cities. All right, so we go to the Reckoning phase, sea domination. No one dominates any sea. Yeah, we're barely in the sea, because every time we start to get up here, barbarians come out of the woodwork and chop us up. All right, victory tally step. Each civilization gains 1 victory point for each of its cities and 1 victory point for each of its wonders in areas the civilization occupies. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 cities and 1 wonder. That is 5 victory points, and that puts me up to 7. Yeah, good job, Gimpy. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cities. Good grief. 6 cities, no wonders. 6 plus 3 is 9. Oh, look at it. They're beating me, you little bastards. All right, that takes care of the victory tally step. Turn order reset. Most cities, that is definitely going to be them. So we'll switch things around here. They have first place now. And we're in the Anina step, which they have a card. What does that card do? During that step, choose one. Switch the turn order, which they're definitely not going to do since they're in first place. Add 1 disc to an active wonder, which they don't have yet. So they will just hold on to this card for later to see if they can get something else going. Sudden death. Now, this is something new that does apply for us. So let's check this. At the start of turn 2, draw a disc. If it has a number 2 in the number, the epoch ends. So we're in epoch 1. You can't see it. It's right there. Then the epoch would end, and if not, play on, discard the draw. And then at turn 3, if it has a 2 or 3 in the card, then you have to take and draw for it and see if it ends the epoch. And then obviously when you get to turn 4, it's a guaranteed end. All right, so if we pan over here to our card stack, we're looking for the number 2 on the card down here at the bottom, which is a 97. So it does not end. Now on the next turn, if it's a 2 or a 3, then the epoch will end. And then, like I said, on turn 4, it automatically ends. So we go to the draw step, and each civilization in turn order draws 3 cards, 1 card for every 4 cities. So we're each getting that one. So we're each drawing 4 cards, and then 1 card for each talent it spends. I could spend some talents, but I'm probably going to hold on to those. And any of the little card draw things that it has, like Troy has. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4. God, they have great cards. Here, they get 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they get to draw 2. And keep 1 and discard the other. And I'll tell you what, that's a negation card. I'm going to go ahead and give it to them because we haven't seen that mini plate. So they got a bunch of cards. All right, so the only thing that you guys actually haven't really seen yet is the end of epoch, which, let's say, a 2 was drawn. We would have gone through these steps here, and that's when an epoch ends. The civilization scores for victory points for most cities, most active wonders, dominated shallow areas, treasuries, and all that stuff. It's kind of like a reset for everything. If it's the final epoch, obviously it's the end of the game. All hands are discarded, a new draw pile is created, you have to shuffle it all back up, and then you resolve an event on this table by doing kind of like how I just did with drawing a card, but then you're seeing where the card number ranks in here, and there's one of many different events that can be played that will actually change things up a little bit. So that's, interesting thing there, a little mid-game change up for you. Each civilization is going to have 5 cards, which will help even things out because some civilizations might, have an excess of cards. They've been able to get a lot and play and beat down the other teams. Well, this way, everyone's starting back at 5 and advance the epoch civilization marker, obviously, and then you're beginning the next turn. So you'd be on epoch 2, turn 1, and then you do the same thing on around. And guys, that's pretty much it. You've seen pretty much the totality of the game. Obviously, when it comes to it, I can't show you like every single little thing. Like there's plenty of cards that you haven't seen, but I'll let you guys see that when you play it for yourself. Lots of little surprises. And I gotta say, it's kind of one of the fun points for me when you're playing at solitaires. You're pulling out the cards for the first time and you're drawing them like, ooh, I can do this to the enemy. And then, you'll play your little card and then the AI, you start looking through it. If you do it in the order I do it, you're looking through their cards like, okay, where are they? Oh, they've got this brutal card. This is going to tear me up. Oh, I thought I was so great. I got to say, all in all, some final thoughts to it. First thing right off the bat, it's a GMT game. Components are through the roof, especially the freaking cards. The cards are fan-freaking-tastic component quality. A little wooden disc, gotta love. You can't hate on that. Little wooden cubes, gotta love them. GMT, if you've been a war gamer, you've played one of their games before, their stuff is usually top quality. You usually don't have any problems with that. This game's no different. Mounted map, good disc, excellent freaking cards. The player aids, the only minor gripe that I could give it is just the placement of the few things on the map, like the turn record and the victory point thing. Maybe if those had been off map or just placed differently, just for situations like we have here now, since it is a 2-piece map, that if you're only playing on one half of it like I'm doing here with a smaller game, that way you could have the other half folded up. But as it is, you do need to have both out just so you can have access to things like that. If it wasn't for that, it'd be perfect as far as components are concerned. I do have to say the game has a much bigger gotcha component than I originally anticipated. When I was first reading about the game and hearing about it and seeing some product components and things of that nature, I expected, and this is just, what I had in my head, was a slower paced game as you kind of spread your civilization out, and they spread theirs out. And I didn't even realize it was diceless. A lot of times I don't look too deep into games. I just, get into get the ones that sound interesting to me. That way I'm kind of surprised when I get into it. I don't want to know everything when I open the box. I want to have a little bit of mystery there. So not having a dice in the game, that was a big surprise for me when I opened it, and quite nice surprise. I got to say, I love the change that they've been going to. A lot of games have recently, using cards instead of dice, because you do have a lot more randomization potential with that, kind of like you see in Fields of Fire. And now with this, they're fully able to have a random event table with the cards. They're fully able to have sudden death as far as will it, won't it, with just a few minor rules just by having the cards numbered. Easy system. I really like the fact that they went down that route. But talking about the game being different from what I expected, it is very much a gotcha game. The swings in this game are going to be big. And the swings that I showed you guys here weren't even that massive. In the practice game that I had off camera, like I was telling you guys, the swings were huge. I mean, they can, one turn, depending all on the cards that you draw and your opponent's draw, can determine so many different things. And not even that, just, you know, how they're playing them, whether you have talents to help mitigate some of your losses so you keep your stuff on the board. The swings can be huge, and it has that beer and pretzels feel of rolling that perfect critical hit to stick it to your opponent, and they're like, oh no, damn you bastard, how could you do that to me? That's why I gotta say, just on that factor alone, I would rate this game better for multiple players rather than solitaire play, just for the fun factor that comes with a gotcha type game. All right, you can't compare it playing it solitaire like I'm showing you guys here versus having multiple of your friends sitting around having a few beers and, you know, tearing their civilization down in one turn, and then they tear yours down the next turn. But I have to give it to them that the solitaire gameplay is much better than I would anticipate for a game of this nature. Usually you would see something like that as tacked on and, you know, hey, here's a quick little flow chart, follow it as best you can, hope for the best. Or play both sides to the best of your ability. It's solitaire friendly. You know, this, they actually did, like I say, put in effort into it. The little player aid here is fleshed out on what the AI is going to try to do, but they did flesh it out a lot more in the playbook itself of what the AI is kind of thinking. And the thing is they left enough wiggle room in there for you that if you feel like there is a better play for the AI, there's no reason you can't go ahead and do it. And it's even specifically written in the rule book, or in the playbook rather, you know, use your brains, be smart about it. If there is a better play for the AI, you know, go for that rather than, you know, whatever's written down. And they did write the rules in such a way to try to avoid gimping, like cheating the system a little bit, where you try to burn cards out of the AI's hand, or you try to burn through their talents, or what's the word I'm trying to look for? Preventing you from using the gameplay mechanics to kind of rig it against the AI so that you win, even though you didn't really win. You know, you just kind of gaming the system a little bit. So they did, like I said, put in the effort to put in a nice fleshed out solitaire system, which I gotta say works well. If you want a gotcha game that you can play, especially in this time frame, that works well solitaire, by all means go for it. And something else that I like about this is the system is fleshed out enough that you can have your civilization and multiple AI civilizations. So the AI will go after other AI civilizations. I didn't really show that here. That would take a fair bit longer to actually show you guys how that type of gameplay would work. It is in the playbook though, you know, the priorities for the AI, whether or not they make peace with you. Like, you can actually make peace with the AI, and then the AI could end up deciding that a different AI is an enemy. So it does have that type of component in it, so you could have a multi-way battle, multi-way gotcha game going, where you are playing it by yourself, and the AI is playing to the best of its ability to take out an enemy opponent, and then you could, you know, cheap shot them in the back after you've made peace with them. So there is a good civilization game here set upon a solitaire framework. I gotta say, I'm proud of them for, you know, being able to pull something like that off. So all told, it's pretty obvious I like Ancient Civilizations the Inner Sea. I mean, if you've paid any attention to BGG or Facebook, you see most people do. Like I said, the components are good, the gameplay's good. The only thing it comes down to is if you're not into this type of game. If you can't handle the big swings, if you don't want something like that, I would avoid this game for that. Or if you prefer games that have dice, little things like that might be something that turns you off. But other than that, it really is a good game. I highly recommend checking it out if you guys haven't already. But that's going to be it for me. You guys feel free to post any comments, questions, concerns you have down in the comments. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Y'all take care.